2 spoons like this, just lift it, yeah, and move it to the bowl.
Wait till you see what we're doing tonight. We're reliving childhood memory. Yep, both of us have deep-seated memories of making cottage cheese and turning it into cottage cheese pie.
Because once reaction is happening, everything that is at the bottom, it will burn. Yeah. So, yeah. So I have to clean. And everything that I'm doing right now, it's just a muscle memory from the past. Because I'm doing, and then I recall like, oh, I have to do this and that, because I have not done it for many years. But I used to make it every day.
Yeah.
Until I got sick. Because of this. It's cheese, I can't have any dairy. Is it on? It's not boiling, but I can see that. I believe I can do it.
I guess being country kids, we were brought up learning all these skills. It's just so simple to warm milk up to a boil, pour in the juice from a lemon, and then slowly stir it until it becomes cottage cheese. The trick, of course, is not to stir it too much because you don't want to break up the curd. Just enough to stop it sticking to the bottom.
What I do right now is just remove what is sticking at the bottom. I hope it was enough. That's okay. I hope it was enough lemon juice for this volume. Because when I used to make, I just was happening much quicker. But it's happening. You can see it. Not as quick as I expected. Let's see.
You know, it doesn't even have to be lemon juice. It can be citric acid or even vinegar. Any type of vinegar will do. It just changes the taste a little.
The more I stir, the more I break these clumps. But I want to have them bigger.
Yep.
So all I have to do right now is to stop it burning at the bottom. Then it's all sticking, and depends on milk again. Sometimes you just can use 2 spoons like this, just lift it, yeah, and move it to the bowl. But it's always different.
Right, if you're ready for the big reveal, we'll just pour off all of this lovely whey, which can be used in a variety of different ways, which I might even show you in another video. But it can be used in the garden, it can be used as a pick-me-up health tonic. It's great for kids, for growing young bodies. Packed full of protein. And no fat, of course, because all the fat is now in the cheese.
Come again without...
Yeah, go.
See, this is all cheese. Oh! Okay, this is not drip. Let it drip.
For how long?
For overnight.
I'm just knocking up a crust for this cottage pie. It's a very short crust, lots of butter in it. And then we'll just give it a splash of icy cold water when I've put all the butter in. And I'll squeeze that out into a flan pan. I think that's what they're called. They're great because the bottom pushes out so you don't break the pie when you're trying to take it out. So I'll put this into there, and then I'll put that back into the fridge and leave it to chill. And then I'm going to get the lovely cottage cheese that we made last night, and I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in it, and a bit of vanilla, and maybe a touch of nutmeg, and I've got some lovely currants that I soaked overnight. Actually, it's now about 30 hours that they've been soaking, so they'll be very, very plump and gorgeous. And they get folded into the mixture, and then the mixture gets spooned into this flan case, and the whole lot then gets baked for about 35 minutes. It's a Czechoslovakian recipe from what I can see on the net. Goodness knows how my mother got hold of it. She was a Yorkshire lady through and through. But it was a real treat when we used to have extra milk to have it made into cottage cheese and have a cottage cheese pie. So I'm trying to relive that here. So let's get it out of the fridge. Added bonus of making your own cottage cheese is that you get all this lovely whey as well, and you can use that in your cooking, or you can make a delicious drink out of it, and that's what I normally do. So here's our cheese. It's been draining overnight, little excess in here. I'm going to scrape that into here. Make the absolute most of this, because nowadays it's a pricey little venture buying 2 litres of whole milk and lots and lots of butter for the casing, for the short pastry. It sort of works out to be a $12 pie. Right, I'm going to lick that off camera. Right, sugar. It's supposed to be caster sugar, but I grudgingly have some white sugar up on the top shelf that I don't usually use, but this does need 1/3 to 1/2 cup, so I'm not even sure which container it's in now. So many white powders. Could be salt. Yeah, salt. There. So if that one's salt and that one's corn flour, that means the sugar's not here. I don't know how I lose things in my tiny kitchen. This, here it is. It was in a jar so big I couldn't get it on the shelf. Depending on your taste, you can make this with 1/3 of a cup to 1/2 a cup of sugar. I'm going to go pretty much the full Monty, because it's all about reliving your childhood. So I better not get the two mixed up. Before I carry on with that, I've got to get this pastry finished. So I'm going to add just a few tablespoons of water. That's all it needs, and make that into a very short crumbly pastry. Actually, This is supposed to have a tablespoon of sugar in it as well. You need to mix it so it just picks up the dry bits. I've still got a bit of dry stuff in the back here. Stir it around, and once that's all picked up and it's uniform, you know that you've got the least amount of moisture possible in there, and that's what you're looking for. You don't want something that's sticking to the side of the bowl. You see how clean the bowl was staying? It's just starting to clump now. And we've picked up most of the dry stuff on the bottom. There you go. I've never had a food processor, and I've never been one for using a cake mixer either. I've always learnt how to do things by hand, like the two butter knives crisscrossing to mix butter into a pastry mix. I've been doing that for years when I make scones, and it just saves dirtying stuff up. And by the time that you've pulled the appliance out of the cupboard, honestly, it's quicker just to get two knives and do it. And the other thing is being off grid. These 900 and 1200 watt blenders, they dim your lights. It's hard, and especially in winter. My solar system on the roof here is only 500 watts. Now, in a cooking video, that's not going to be of any interest to most people, but it's only just enough to get by on. It really is. I'm going to have to double my array, but the problem is tiny little shed roof. I'm thinking of attaching two more panels high up on the walls on the sunny side. Right, so I'm going to put that in the fridge because for some reason it's a good idea to chill it off. I don't know why you need to chill short pastry, but it loves it. That makes it even more crumblier. So I'll put that in the fridge for a while. I might even slip it in the freezer. And we'll start on this. The whey is here. I'm going to put that aside and I'll enjoy that in another way shortly. I will just transfer this to a nice bowl that I've got here. Oh, look at that, peels off beautifully. That's a lot of cottage cheese. Keeping tidy in a tiny house kitchen is an important thing too, so I'll slip a few things away. Speaking of whey, I'll put that in here and then I can use the bowl. Oh, I might have to drink some. Oh. Yeah, a little splash for me. See the residue in here? Anna tells me that we should have used a little more lemon juice, because that is the good stuff that we're missing out on. That should be in the cheese. It's going to be a lovely bit of whey. Right, we're going to need the equivalent of one of those supermarket tubs, which is 16 ounce, which I think is about a little over half of this. About that much there. And then we are going to add in the sugar. And we need 2 tablespoons of flour, which this isn't a tablespoon, this is a dessert spoon. So I'm going to put 3 of these in. Ugh. 1, 2, 3. Need to beat some eggs. A good egg really does take some mixing when you do it manually. I'm looking in there and I'm seeing bits that I can still see little bits of egg white floating around. Not perfect. Right. Other things that need to go in here are a pinch of salt, teaspoonful of vanilla essence, a small shake of nutmeg, because I'm going to be liberally dusting nutmeg onto the top when it's finished, but I'll put a little bit in the mixture. That would be less than 1/4 of a teaspoon. Now this needs to be mixed into a fluffy paste. That's the perfect consistency I'm looking for. A spoonable slurry. Next, I'm going to add the rind of a lemon. Just a couple of tablespoons full of lemon juice. He said with some authority, as if he knows what he's talking about. Every time I cook, it's a bit of an experiment, it really is. Yeah, okay, I won't put all of that in. Yes, I will. Right. What did I just tip the pips in? There will be a short intermission at this point for ice creams and wee-wees while I remove the pips from the mixture. Ooh. Right. Oh, you're back. Good, good. Right. Okay, I'm going to stir that in. Was there a cue? Okay, so now we're ready to roll out the pastry. That's been in the freezer, chilling. Chilling! And I don't know why, but short pastry responds to the cold rather well. You end up with something very nice. I need a bit of flour on that board. And we don't have a rolling pin, so that's going to do the job just nicely. So those of you that have watched a fair selection of my videos need to tell me, am I a better Land Rover restorer or a make it up as you go along chef? I can't decide. Oh my god, what's that? Crusty salt. Check me out, I'm going to have just enough. I haven't done this in years. I could have rolled it out a little bit better actually, it's just the board wasn't big enough. Alright, that'll have to do. Now, I don't want to waste even a tiny bit of this preciousness, so I'm going to use a soft spatula. Now I've got my oven preheating to 180 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot, but then of course this is pretty wet. Dusting of nutmeg over the top. I knew I should have left it out. I'm going to be quite generous with this in the name of childhood dreams, because it used to have a fair old dusting of this on the top when I was a kid. So now it's ready to go into that hot oven. The oven's at 180 degrees, and because I'm off grid using solar for this, I've got a pizza stone underneath here that increases the thermal mass of the oven and makes it more economic for me to run on the solar. I can run this on a sunny day. I can run this thing all during the daylight hours. I could cook for 6 hours, no problem at all. But at night, this is going to deplete. This is going to deplete my reserves, but that's okay. Nice treat at the end of it. I think I did pretty well for a first attempt. It's a bit of a balance to get the contents cooked without burning the crust. And you can see that I've put a fork in here. It came out cleanly, so I'm assuming that it's nicely cooked. The pie case looks good. I'm going to leave it to cool down for half an hour, then we'll come back, slice into it, and I'm going to have a taste. Well, we've had 3/4 of an hour or so to cool down. Time to have a wee look inside. Well, it's finished. We've all had a slice each. We all love it. Even the shy ones who don't want to appear on camera. It's not quite like Mum used to make 140 years ago when I was a kid. Something's different, but it's still really nice. We made the cheese ourselves. Because it's full of yummy dairy goodness and lots of eggs, it is a little bit expensive. This ended up costing 12 New Zealand dollars. Because of the eggs, the butter, the milk. But it's very, very nice, and I will be making it again. I'm going to sneak myself a second slice now, because I can. Have it with my coffee. You know, it's nice straight from the fridge, but slightly warmed. It's a lovely winter treat.